The sound of knocking on the front door surprised me. Firstly, it sounded somewhat timid and uncertain. Secondly, given that it was Sunday and the time had not yet reached 8 in the morning, most of my loved ones already had the keys to my apartment. It seemed strange, but perhaps it was important, so I decided to open the door. To say that I was amazed does not adequately describe my reaction to the appearance of a thin, charming blonde standing in front of me on the porch. "Hello, James." Maddie. Beautiful, sparkling, full of life. Maddie. My ex-wife, Maddie. I hated Maddie. My heart beat faster, but I tried to remain calm. "Maddie, I didn't expect to ever see you again. I understand, but we need to talk. We had an urgent conversation for a long time. How were you able to find me? I followed you from your mother's house. I remembered that you often go there on Monday evenings. It was difficult for me to decide to knock on your door." She smiled faintly. Maddie seemed unsure, which was completely out of character for her, but at the same time I sensed determination in her. "Can I come in?" "What do you want, Maddie?" "Please, James, just give me 5 minutes and then I'll leave." I took a dramatic breath, which was always the pinnacle of my resistance to Maddie. Then I closed the door and followed her into the living room. She looked worried, unusually worried, and I had no desire to save her. "So, what do you want?" I asked sharply. Maddie, with her big blue eyes, quickly scanned the room, but there were few clues. The apartment was new and the bedrooms, bathrooms, kitchen, and office took priority, so my personal belongings were still in boxes. She cast a significant glance at the sofa, but, having received no invitation, remained standing. Then she turned to me. "Could you offer me a cup of tea or coffee?" "You're not a guest, Maddie. Say what you want to say." "How are you doing, James? Is it true?" I chuckled. "Why do you care?" "I've always loved you, James, and I always will." "And that's why you constantly cheated on me with Tom?" Maddie sighed. "You know why. He was my first true love, my first boyfriend. We had a special connection. And you didn't consider it necessary to tell me about this before our wedding?" "I didn't think I would still have feelings for him. He joined the army. I haven't seen or heard from him for 14 months. And then I fell in love with you. But you continued to see him every time he returned to town. And this lasted for several weeks before our wedding. And it lasted for 3 years while we were married. Maddie, you never refused him, even when you swore allegiance to me. Those were the facts. Detectives found out everything in preparation for the divorce." Maddie lowered her eyes to the floor. She had to admit it. "Maddie, what do you want?" "I want to restore our family so that my husband can return. Ex-husband, and I won't go back. You destroyed our family, Maddie. I didn't want a divorce. You abandoned us. And then he didn't want to talk to me. I've been trying to talk to you for 2 years. I had nothing to say to you, and I had no desire to listen to your words. You chose Tom. So have it. I really wanted to be with you, but I wanted him too from time to time. I do not play such games. You couldn't make a choice, so I made the choice." Tears sparkled in Maddie's eyes. I couldn't say I understood her, but the relationship she wanted would be the death of me if I agreed. Everything was leading up to this. "You need to be there for your child, James." Emotions were raging inside me. The pain squeezed my temples, the pulsation in my ears intensified, and I could hardly think. "Beth is not my daughter." "The father is definitely Tom. That's what they said at the custody hearing. We could probably find a solution together. So you can see Beth. I know you love her very much. But I'm not talking about Beth. We have a son. I named him Jimmy." Something inside me exploded. I don't know how I managed to stay on my feet because I don't remember anything about the next few minutes. My mind seemed to shut down to process this new blow. And when he returned, I laughed bitterly. "I've seen this story before, Maddie. We're having a baby. Oh, James, you're going to be a great dad. Only this child was Tom's, not mine. But it's true, I didn't know I was pregnant when you filed my divorce papers. And when I didn't get my period, I assumed it was because of stress. And when I found out that I was pregnant, we had already signed all the documents. And Tom and I were making plans for the future. So what part of your plan for the future brought you here? I'm here because I love you. Nonsense. Your actions said otherwise. Tears began to flow down her cheeks. They seemed sincere, but with Maddie you could never be sure. Jimmy needs his father. And Beth misses you terribly. And me too. Beth was not even 2 years old when we broke up. She spent more time without me than with me. And you could have found me at any time since I moved. What's really going on, Maddie? She lowered her eyes again, and tears rolled down from her long eyelashes. Tom left a couple of months ago. I don't know where he is, but he said he won't be coming back. Never. Why? Maddie hesitated. He couldn't accept that Jimmy was your son. I couldn't help but grin evilly. Well, then you made the wrong choice. James, please, I am begging you. The children and I love you. We should be a family. We belong to each other. It is important. Who is listed as the father on Jimmy's birth certificate? Tom. Maddie quietly squeezed out, and her face flushed. Then it seems you are looking for your husband in the wrong place. No, please, James, I really love you. You are the only husband I want. The only one I ever wanted. I swear to it. Maddie's face was contorted in agony, and she was breathing heavily as she sobbed, and there was a sense of deep regret in her sobs. I restrained myself from extending my hand in consolation. She seemed lost and pathetic. The dynamo I fell in love with was gone, and this sad and desperate woman stood in front of me like a street child. I felt my heart begin to break from her suffering and pain. But I myself had no pain. The sound of the key being inserted into the front door lock saved me. I turned around with relief, and a smile of anticipation instantly appeared on my face. Sure enough, as if day followed night, the door swung open to reveal a slender, dark-haired creature in yoga pants and a puffy jacket, holding a bag of baked goods and a cardboard tray with 2 paper cups with lids. "You're home," I said, and smiled broadly. Sally smiled brightly, but then noticed Maddie and looked at me, puzzled. "Honey, this is Maddie." Then the realization came, and Sally's lips pressed firmly and curled into a cold smile that did not touch her expressive dark eyes at all. "Hello, Maddie. I've heard a lot about you." "Maddie, this is Sally, my wife. I wasn't supposed to take pleasure in Maddie's suffering." Her eyes widened, then narrowed. She could only nod, sobs shaking her body. She walked past us and ran away without closing the door behind her. I carefully closed the door. "Honey, are you okay?" Sally looked deep into my eyes and lightly touched my cheek. To be honest, I'm a little scared. I knew I would see her again someday, but I never imagined it would be like this. Why did she come and what did she want? Reconciliation. Tom left, and she claims I'm her son's father. Oh no, James. Could this be true? Quite possible. When it became clear that she was not going to give up Tom, I immediately filed for divorce. We didn't have a lot of money, and I gave her everything she wanted to get her to sign. Perhaps she was pregnant and didn't know it. What will you do if this is true? I took the tray and bag from Sally and placed them on the kitchen island. Unbuttoning her puffy jacket, I hung it in the hallway closet, then hugged her. After kissing Sally, I caressed her soft lips with mine. I'll do what we always do, my love. Do the right thing. You yourself taught me this. If I'm the father of a child, then Maddie and I will look for the best way to support him. But this will be within the framework of our marriage. I will never return to her. Smiling, she disappeared into me. Sally became my rock after Maddie's betrayal. At the beginning of our relationship, I was hopeless, irritable, suspicious, and I reacted aggressively to even the slightest provocation, whether real or imagined. Sally accepted my wounds and showed me every day that I could trust her and share all my thoughts and feelings. She convinced me that I deserved love, that I could truly be loved. Based on Sally's kindness, tolerance, and unconditional love, we created a strong, loving, and passionate family. How much I love this woman. Besides, I said, running my hands over her bulging belly, which had already been visible for weeks, We have our own miracle that will soon require our full attention. Sally gave me one of her gentle smiles. By the way, your future baby and I are very hungry. Where are your buns and tea? We laughed and, holding hands, headed towards the kitchen together.